In our news headlines today, Duppy Cole surrenders on the charges. And we will look at Ashanti's passing in Trinidad. Next, we will look at a wanted Jamaican who has passed away during a serious shelling between him and the cops in Bronx. We will also provide you with some information on a goat farmer who is being targeted by some unscrupulous individuals who are attempting to take away her goats. Duppy Cole has surrendered on the charges that have been laid against him after 7 months. 29-year-old Clark, also known as Duppy Cole, a mason of Top Melbourne Salt Spring in St. James, has been charged with the passing following an incident on Wednesday, April 22, 2020. The person whose life he took is 21-year-old Gooden Jr., a delivery man of Birch Hill, Green Pond in the parish. Reports from the police are that approximately 11:30 a.m. on April 22, Gooden received a telephone call to make a delivery of cooking gas in Green Heights, Green Pond in the parish. On his arrival at the location, he was allegedly approached by Clark, who gave him some serious shellings and hit him several times before making his escape. The police was later called, and on their arrival, Gooden was seen on the roadway with what appeared to be some serious shelling injuries. Gooden was later transported to the hospital, where the medical team pronounced him. On Thursday, November 26th, Clark, who had been listed as a person of interest, surrendered himself to the police at the Mount Salem police station. He was subsequently charged following an interview, and his court date is being finalized. Our second news story, Ashanti has passed away. It is causing hurt to the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. According to the Prime Minister, Rowley, it's a national pain. The passing of 18-year-old Ashanti has caused everyone to spark outrage. She was found in a forested watercourse in La Canoa, Santa Cruz last Friday morning. Ashanti was last seen on November 29th. According to her relatives, she took a PH taxi in San Juan. She was expected to meet her boyfriend and cousins so that they could attend her grandmother's birthday party in Coco-Wright. However, Miss Ashanti never showed up. When asked to make a comment about the passing of Ashanti, the Prime Minister described the recent developments involving women and girls as a national pain. He further went on to state that everyone is diminished by the news of what happened to Ashanti, or even the children who have experienced similar things. In this country where I live, I am a father of 2 daughters. I'm an uncle to a number of nieces, cousins, and when the news comes to me about somebody experiencing an act, I physically feel the pain and say, what would I have done if that was me? He further went on to state that there was a time in this country where you could not operate a motor vehicle for hire unless you were cleared by the state to be a person of good character. Your vehicle was so marked, and then you were authorized to do that because of the danger involved in any so-called Tom, Dick, and Harry story, operating a motor vehicle and allowing someone to pick up persons, and then you end up with this sad situation as the outcome. According to him, the state's position on the matter of pepper sprays and tasers is that there was no guarantee that these non-lethal items would protect women. He further said it doesn't guarantee you that you are not going to be at the disadvantage, and when these dangerous persons chooses the point at which this dangerous act is committed, then it will be available to them to use, and the very threat of being pepper sprayed might even make the female more vulnerable to such an unscrupulous individual. As it stands, 2 men remain in police custody in connection with the passing of Miss Riley. A third suspect is being sought. In our third news story, a Jamaican who was wanted in the United States passed away during a serious shelling incident between him and the cops in Bronx. A Jamaican man who was on the run in the United States following the shelling of a state trooper last month passed away on Friday in New York at the hands of officers during a serious shelling story. The deceased has been identified as 35-year-old Sterling. Investigators confirmed that Sterling was a native of Jamaica, but they could not determine whether he had permanent residency in the United States. The New York Times further gave a report that the officers tracked Sterling to an apartment in the Wakefield section of Bronx in New York after he has been on the run for 2 weeks. Further reports were that at approximately 5:30 a.m., marshals knocked on the door of the Bronx apartment and were invited inside by a man. Shortly after that, Sterling reportedly emerged from another section of the building and opened shellings, hitting 2 of the marshals. The law enforcers then took evasive action and returned the shelling, hitting the Jamaican. When the shelling had finished, it was discovered that Sterling had passed away. The man who had initially answered the door to the apartment sustained an injury to his cranium, but was expected to survive, according to the police. Of the 2 injured marshals, one sustained an injury to his leg, while the other got hit in a leg and an arm. They too are expected to recuperate after they have returned from the hospital. Sterling was wanted on charges of armed injury with intent to take someone's life, possession of serious weapons, causing harm with a dangerous tool, stealing a car, and having unauthorized use of a stolen vehicle in relation to the November 20th passing of rookie trooper Lennon. In that very incident, Sterling was pulled over in a stolen car by the young trooper at about 11:30 p.m. near the village of Hyannis, the Massachusetts State Police reported. Sterling later pulled out that dangerous tool and started shelling, hitting the trooper. The accessory went through the lawman's hand and hit his bulletproof vest. He was later hospitalized for several days and has since recovered. Of note, the stolen car helped the police to track down the Jamaican to New York. Sterling was also wanted on 2 other warrants in Massachusetts, including one for identity theft as well as dangerous substance charge in Wyoming. This is what the police has said about this very dangerous man called Sterling. Final news story. Unscrupulous persons are targeting a woman farmer just because they would like to take away her goats. Of course, her name is Nugent Griffiths, and she loves to take care of her animals, but she is being targeted by these unscrupulous individuals. She has estimated that she has lost approximately $1 million. She lost all of 20 head of goats to these unscrupulous persons who have plundered her herd for 2020. They made their attempt and they were successful on November 27th. She is angry and she's going through a lot of pain. Of course, this pillage across Jamaica costs farmers approximately $6 billion each year, and it keeps increasing. Rearing livestock is very risky. For this resident, she has been doing this for 30 years, and she has been using her earnings from her farming to take care of her children. Her oldest child is 36 years old. This is the first time that these unscrupulous individuals have taken off with her goats. Our recollection of the nighttime raid is like a scratched record, reminiscent of the heartbreaking tales of other farming interests who have targeted their efforts to secure their animals from these persons, but often end up losing nonetheless. Miss Nugent Griffiths was in her bed at home when she was awakened by a bleat of desperation approximately 3 a.m. in the morning. She remembers jumping up, and she woke her husband, and they went outside only to see one sheep. I shout out, "Thief!" and the community rose up, and we ran out on the road and realized that the thieves had stolen all of my goats. They only left 30 goats behind. These unscrupulous individuals had cut the wire to the goat pen and led the animals onto the roadway. Discouragement is the standard currency for farmers in Jamaica, and it is quite unclear whether the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries will also put in place more strategic programs in relation to its predial larceny program. Their attempts would inspire confidence in Mrs. Nugent Griffiths. Floyd Green, who is responsible for the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, has reported that an increase in predial larceny arrests, crediting his new strategies as a key to the success. Since January, they have had 69 arrests compared to 39 arrests for the same period last year. So there is almost 100% increase in arrests since this new approach in predial larceny. We are seeing great success in parishes like St. Thomas. Green has promised to reinforce the predial larceny prevention coordination unit, including the purchase of 7 vehicles. According to Mrs. Nugent Griffiths, while discouraged, she intends to stay the course and maintain her 2-story goat pen. Thieves have reportedly been targeting farms in Racecourse, Williamsfield, Harewood, Troha, and Riversdale, along with other surrounding communities in the northeastern areas of St. Catherine. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about these unscrupulous individuals attempting to take away the goats from Mrs. Nugent Griffiths. And what about Duppy Cole's passing? And all of the matters that have been discussed.